What would you do with $10,000 more than you have right now? Most people have an answer ready before the question is even finished. Pay off the credit card, fix the car, finally save something, give more to the church, take care of the family. The list comes quickly because the list has been rehearsed. You have thought about it before. You have prayed about it before. You have tied the desire for more to good intentions, to the right reasons, to the kind of plans that feel like they would honor God. And yet, the money has not come. The breakthrough has not arrived. The increase you have been asking for has stayed just out of reach. And somewhere underneath the faith and the patience, there is a question you have not quite let yourself ask out loud. Why not me? Why not yet? The answer is not in your circumstances. It is not in the economy or in the timing or in whether you have sown enough seed into enough offerings. The answer is in Proverbs, and it has been sitting there the entire time. The Book of Proverbs does not treat money as a spiritual abstraction. It treats money as a test, not a test of how much you want it, or how long you have been waiting for it, or how sincerely you have prayed for it, a test of what you do with what you already have. Chapter 13, verse 11 says it plainly. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathers little by little will increase it. Read that again slowly. Wealth gained hastily will dwindle. This is not a commentary on dishonest wealth, though that is part of its application. It is a statement about the relationship between character and capacity. Money that arrives before you have developed the character to manage it does not stay. It cannot. Not because God is withholding his blessing, but because you are not yet the person who can hold what you are asking for. The gathering little by little is not just a financial strategy. It is a formation process. Every small financial decision you make is building, or failing to build, the person who can be trusted with more. The discipline of a budget no one sees. The decision to save when spending would have felt better. The choice to delay a purchase that the money could technically cover. These are not small things. They are the construction of a character that increase can rest on without destroying you. Proverbs 21 verse 5 presses the same point from a different angle. The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. There it is again, hasty. Rushing toward the result before the process has done its work produces not abundance, but poverty, and often a poverty that is harder to recover from than the one you started with. Proverbs is not the only place this principle appears. In the 16th chapter of Luke, Jesus says something that most people hear and nod at without applying to their actual finances. He says, "Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much, and whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much." Then he takes it somewhere the sermon usually stops. Verse 11, "If you have not been faithful in the use of worldly wealth, who will entrust the true riches to you?" Jesus is drawing a direct line between your relationship with the money you currently have and God's willingness to give you more. Not more spiritual things, more money, more resource, more capacity. He is saying that what you do with the income in your hands right now is the audition for the increase you have been asking for. This is where the title of this video becomes less of a provocation and more of a diagnostic question. Why can God not trust you with more money yet? The answer may simply be that he has been watching what you do with what you already have. So here is where this lands in your actual life, not in principle, and the specific financial behavior of the last 30 days. Most people who are praying for more money are also making daily decisions with their current money that they have not fully examined. Not because they are dishonest people, but because the gap between what they earn and what they intend to do with it has never been confronted at the level of habit. Ask yourself this honestly. If God reviewed your last month of spending the way an employer reviews a performance record before a promotion, what would he find? There is a man in Genesis whose financial story most people know, but whose actual pattern of behavior most people have never studied closely enough to apply. His name was Joseph. He was 17 years old when his brothers sold him into slavery in Egypt. He arrived in the household of a man named Potiphar, one of Pharaoh's senior officials. He had no status, no leverage, and no reason to expect that anything he did would matter. He was property, a foreign slave in a house that owed him nothing. Genesis 39 tells us that the Lord was with Joseph and that he became a successful man. And then it tells us something more specific that most readings of this passage overlook. It says that Potiphar saw the Lord was with Joseph and that the Lord caused everything Joseph did to succeed in his hands. The verse does not say God poured success onto Joseph from above. It says the Lord caused everything Joseph did to succeed. The success flowed through what Joseph put his hands to. Potiphar made Joseph the overseer of his entire household. He left everything he had in Joseph's charge. With Joseph in charge, the text says he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. That is not a small promotion. That is total trust given to a man who arrived with nothing. It was not given to Joseph because he prayed for it. It was given to him because his faithfulness in the lower position had made him unmistakably qualified for the higher one. Joseph was in Potiphar's house for 11 years before Pharaoh eventually gave him authority over all of Egypt. 11 years of faithful stewardship and an assignment no one would have blamed him for resenting. 11 years of managing someone else's resources before he was given the authority to manage a nation's. That timeline is not accidental. It is instructive. The pattern is the same in both Joseph and in Proverbs. God does not give increase to the person who is ready to receive it emotionally or spiritually. He gives it to the person whose daily behavior with what they already have demonstrates that they can be trusted. The increase is not waiting for your faith to get bigger. It is waiting for your habits to catch up with your prayers. Here is what faithfulness looks like in this season. Not a grand financial overhaul, not a dramatic commitment made in an emotional moment that fades within a fortnight. One honest examination of where the money you currently have is actually going. Take an inventory of the last 30 days of spending, not to feel guilty about it, to see it clearly, because you cannot manage what you have not named. Joseph did not oversee Potiphar's household by approximating what was there. He knew it exactly, and he gave it the same care he would have given his own. Then identify one financial habit that has been operating on autopilot that does not reflect the standard of a person who takes stewardship seriously. One subscription that should be canceled, one meal out that should be prepared at home, one purchase that was comfort spending rather than considered spending. Deal with that one thing this week, not as a punishment, as an act of alignment between who you say you are before God and what your bank statement says about you. Proverbs is not promising you wealth. It is showing you the character that wealth can safely rest on. The gathering little by little is the work. The diligent plan is the work. The faithfulness with what seems too small to matter is the work. And it is the same work Joseph did in obscurity for 11 years before anyone who mattered gave him anything more. You asked God why the increase has not come. He is asking you what you have done with the income that came last month. The answer in Proverbs is not complicated. It is uncomfortable because it puts the responsibility for your financial position not in the hands of circumstances, but in the hands of the person who decides what to do with what is already there. That person is you. The review is ongoing, and the promotion is given to the one whose daily behavior makes the decision easy.